Hello, my name is Ziba. I came to Canada as a refugee with my husband and our children. We had a rough start, but we were thankful to make Canada our new home. Being new in the country, things were smooth and great at first, but later turned sour after my husband could not find a job because of his lack of Canadian work experience. It became worse as he started drinking and hitting me. He further stopped me from finding a job, claiming I needed to stay home and look after our children. The money from the government was not enough since we were looking after our extended family back home. I was tired of the fights and the scars which I could no longer hide in front of my children. I confided in a friend who connected me with a counselor, and I sought the help I needed. I am glad I spoke up.
Break the Silence in COVID-19, presented by the Artists and Artisans Development and Network, funded by the Red Cross Canada.
See this. How are you? Good afternoon. How are you doing? My name is Gloria Gift Nankunda, and I officially welcome you to what I call the first workshop of the month of November. It is Break the Silence in COVID-19 as we explore the subject of the prevention of elderly abuse and domestic violence against women, especially during this lockdown. How have you been? It's been quite an interesting week, and that is not something we can avoid talking about. So first and foremost, congratulations to our American family and friends out there for your election that has been taking the whole world by storm, literally. I remember I was very anxious and I couldn't wait for you to have your results. So congratulations to you on your new president, Joe Biden, and the deputy vice president, that is Kamala Harris. What a pleasure. It's been a joy to be with you on this ride, and quite a lot of hard work, I must say. But nonetheless, I officially welcome you to Break the Silence in COVID-19, brought to you by the Red Cross Canada and, of course, the Artists and Artisans Development and Network. Thank you so much for those that have been with us all through the month of October, and now we have it all through the month of November. We've been working with a couple of artists, a couple of speakers. Everybody has something to say, about what's happening. And, of course, I'll be talking about some of the statistics that have been shared within in regards to domestic violence, especially during this lockdown, as well as elderly abuse. Just to give you a bit about the history of the Artists and Artisans Development and Network that was founded in the year 2014 and has been able to provide resources for the community, especially for the artists and artisans who are immigrants into Canada. Our vision is to create a platform that brings awareness to underrepresented members of the community. Together, we will promote the intercultural understanding, collaboration, and community building. And of course, community is at the heart of Break the Silence in COVID-19 series, as of course our purpose is to build communities through conversation with the arts, and we'll do that by bringing together a team of diverse collaborators, volunteers, community partners, sponsors, artists for cultural exchange and celebration. You must be wondering who has been putting this forward. There's an amazing team of people, and I'll be sharing that with you. But I just wanted to say that I welcome all of you. The show is happening on YouTube, so I encourage you to join us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course follow us on our Facebook as the show is happening right now. Once again, this is brought to you by the Artists and Artisans Development and Network, funded by the Red Cross Canada with the support of Gisha Productions Inc. And we are here to talk about the prevention of elderly abuse as well as domestic violence against women. If you've got any questions as you're listening to the talk today from our very important speaker, I encourage you to send your questions, send your comments within the comment section, and they shall be read and shared here, and you will get some answers, of course. Otherwise, you're most welcome. I hope you're all good. I hope you're enjoying the sun. I just took a walk outside. It's not too awful, eh? It's not awful for but I won't jinx it, but I encourage you to take a walk outside today and take a little bit of a breath of fresh air. As always, we're going to be starting off with an amazing performer, and this lady, I'm an artist as well, and I can tell you that without this lady, I probably would never have thought about singing, though She gave me the confidence, she encouraged me, and her name is Tina Ford, who is a neo-Afro soul musician, originally from Uganda. Yes, I'm very proud of that. And she is based in Toronto. Her sound is influenced by jazz and Afro rhythm beats. She has been on many stages before here, including the Festival International, that is the New D'Afrique in Montreal, also personal and local events, and her strong stage presence and energy captivates the message that she also soulfully and swiftly conveys with her voice. She released her first EP called Beginner's Luck in 2014, following her second EP, City Night Lights, and it can be accessed on all music platforms such as the iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and many do not fail to recognize her dazzling soul style and personality. Her unique character captures the drawing combination of Afrobeat and American jazz culture. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here is Tina Ford. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Tina Ford. I'm a singer-songwriter based here in Toronto. I'm excited to share a few songs with you for the Break the Silence of COVID-19 series. So the song I'm going to sing is called Your Cloth. It's a song about strength and taking your power back. I am dedicating this song to anyone that's going through domestic violence during lockdown, or going through elderly abuse, or any kind of emotional abuse. I dedicate this song to you and hope that you will receive strength. Yay. Oh, 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 yay, oh, oh. I wrote a letter to my letter, yay. To be an exception to the rules of making hearts a game of chess. Nah, I wouldn't want to get you close to the mess around me. It's part of beauty, you know. You want me truly. Oh, yet I'm always there truly. I hope to overcome this lowest thing, blow up steam. Whenever it gets hot, I hope to overcome this lowest thing, blow off steam. Whenever it gets hot, oh, I could read through the pen scribble on this paper. Looks like much of little hope to you, my letters. 22 felt like a century of my escape in blue. Made me, helped me, strengthened me, tore me to pieces. 'Cause I know that you'll always be there truly. I hope to overcome this lowest thing, blow off steam. Whenever it gets hot, I hope to overcome this lowest thing, blow off steam. Whenever it gets hot, oh, oh, your cloth, dear lovely, feels like replica of soft fine linen worn by a humble goddess. Don't you dare say she's honest. Yay. Ooh, 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 baby. I hope to overcome this lowest thing, blow up steam. Whenever it gets hot, I hope to overcome this lowest thing, blow off steam. Whenever it gets hot, yay.
Wow. Isn't that a beautiful voice? Did you hear those lyrics? I hope you get to overcome the self-esteem. Thank you so much. Nice performance, Tina Ford. Great job. And she also says thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much. We're going to be hearing a little bit more from Tina as the show goes on, as the workshop goes on. And right now, I want to take this moment once again to acknowledge everybody watching, everybody sharing, wherever you are. I promise there is somebody who needs to hear this conversation, and it will be you to, bring this closer to them. Thank you so much, people watching. Okipi Michael, you're watching. Kampaj, thank you so much. Alan, thank you so much. Everybody who is watching, I encourage you. Thank you so much. James Kato, I see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to take this moment to acknowledge the teams that are behind this, and that is the board of directors for the Artisans Development and Network, Isha Productions Inc. Thank you so much for your support. Partner agencies, of course, the Positive Community Development, we appreciate your support. Creative Joys, we wouldn't be here without you. Chocolate Films, thank you. The IDRF, thank you so much. Ryerson University, we appreciate you so much. Trius College, we appreciate you. University of Toronto, we appreciate you for your support. Diversity Cultural Association, thank you so much. Swara Jangan Music Academy and many others, we thank you so much for joining us and for making this possible. And of course, not forgetting our Red Cross Canada. We are not going to thank you enough, because without you, this wouldn't be possible. Now, we are going to be tackling something very serious. You might have heard of this, you've seen her here before, but this time round, she's coming to talk about something that I've got a little bit of experience, how no matter how sad that may sound, especially in regards to the topic of domestic violence, but I encourage you to, let us listen, let us engage. And if you've got any questions as she's going to be giving her talk, I encourage you to please ask away. The name is Dr. Rasha Waheed. Dr. Rasha Waheed is a professor at Cambridge College and a college bureau on mental health. She's a mental health nurse, a professional life coach, and a registered psychotherapist at the Family Services of Peel, Mississauga. Her main focus of therapy is narcissistic abuse, domestic abuse, anxiety and depression, codependency, therapeutic modalities, including the cognitive behavior therapy and dialectal behavior therapy, solution-focused therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this moment to officially welcome Dr. Rasha Waheed, our speaker for today. Hello, Dr. Rasha, how are you? Oh dear, something is up with your sound. I'll let my technical person deal with that. Your sound, I can't hear you. Apologies for the technical difficulties, people. Apologies. We're trying to fix that. But once again, yes, that is Dr. Rasha Waheed. She's going to be talking about narcissistic behavior. That is one of the things that she's going to be tackling. And I'm sure you probably have an experience or two, or you probably have an idea of somebody who has suffered this. Otherwise, I welcome all of you. Krishna Chotai, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, wherever you're watching from, whether you're in Africa and whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the States, wherever you are in Europe, we welcome you officially. Of course, this is the first of the five workshops that will be taking place this November here. Thank you so much for joining us once again. For those that are watching, we really, really appreciate you. And then, what else? Just in case, I just want to remind you that, of course, Tina Ford will be coming up. And if at all you've got any questions, I encourage you. And just so you might know, there has been a lot happening as far as, why are we talking about this? I want to talk about the Elderly Abuse Prevention Ontario, which is the senior safety line. That is 1-866-299-1011. If at all you're going through all of this, I encourage you, please reach out. And there has been a lot that has been going on as far as this topic is concerned. Why did we choose to talk about it? Did you know that we have some of the warning signs of domestic abuse? Did you know about some of them? We're talking about control. We're talking about being apologetic. We're talking about the injuries. We're talking about the withdrawals. Because some of our people go through these things and we never know how to deal with them. So that's why we're having this conversation. And somebody who is more qualified is going to be talking to us a little bit deeper. Dr. Rasha, are you ready now? Can we go on? Hello? Technology, my people, please be patient with us. Technology. We are all getting the hang of this, Dr. Rasha. I'm still not hearing you, but I'm going to let, again, my technical personnel deal with that as I wait for you to get on. Once again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. As you have seen, the times have changed. We are now shifting to the digital world. We are shifting to the virtual world. And of course, some of these things are going to happen, whether we expect them to happen or not, you know. So when they tell you that it is quite a hard job to perform live, to do things live, literally that is what we're talking about. And also, by the way, in the past, we've also had some other speakers that have been here. And I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're listening. You know, you're picking a thing or two. You know, you're picking a knot or two. And also, I encourage people that are suffering in silence, that is the victims of domestic violence. I encourage you to also call the 211 Ontario with the toll-free number of 1-877-330-23. I beg your pardon. The toll-free number is 1-877-330-3213. All right, please reach out. I know that this is not something hard. It is not something easy to talk about, and it doesn't come easily for anyone or any of us. But at least if you know where to go and seek help from, then that is very, very important. So do not stay alone. You watched the video at the beginning of the show where the woman is talking about how she suffered domestic abuse on the hands of her husband. Regardless of the reasons behind it, I tell you not to feel sorry for the perpetrator, but otherwise to hold them accountable, because that's very important. It never stops, trust me. It never stops. And as a person who has been a little bit through this, it's not something I'm proud of, but I can tell you that I held back seeking assistance for... Maybe I was scared. Maybe I didn't know if I was going to be, you know, believed first and foremost, or even my pride, my own pride as a woman. And as you know, I didn't think that I would be believed. That was point number one. And I was, of course, ashamed. But that is my experience. I'm imagining somebody going through this during this lockdown, and you're saying, where am I going to seek the help from? I promise you, the Red Cross Canada and the Artisans Development and Network are having this conversation, you know, to hear you out and to also share with you where you can actually go and seek help where you need it. Okay, so please bear with us once again. And just to share more statistics on this topic of domestic violence, especially during this lockdown, as well as elderly abuse, we have it that less than 40% of women who experience violence in their relationship or in their lives seek help. Can you imagine that? Less than 40% of women that suffer or experience violence in their lives seek help. So what happens to the other 60? You know, you tell me. Less than 40%. And there she is. And also, before I engage her, also less than 10% of women seek help by appealing to police. So not only do they reach out to the police, but that is just only 10%. Now imagine the other 90. Yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your patience as we work on our technical issues. And now I would like to once again bring on board Dr. Rasha Wahid.
Thank you so much, Gloria, and thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. We're happy to have you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We really do understand. Yeah, we're in the age of social media and in the age of digital, but we have to understand that we're all moving towards that end. We didn't necessarily know how to deal with, this, but here we are. You're most welcome, my dear.
Thank you so much.
How have you been? Let's start there, because there's a lot happening. The energy is so much in the air. How have you been amidst all of this?
Well, I would say I'm so busy, to be honest, especially this week. A lot of clients and classes, But anyways, I'm really excited to be with you guys. And the reason that you'd like to talk about domestic violence is because also I'm specialized in narcissistic abuse. And I've been working with clients for almost more than 10 years now. And last time we discussed a little bit more about mental health in general, like how to maintain your mental health well-being in general. But today I want to share with you, Gloria, and all our audience, some specific information about narcissistic abuse, which I am sure it will help a lot. So let me start just with some of the, what we call it, facts or knowledge that sometimes you're not aware of. Like, what is the narcissistic codependency dance or a relationship? Why do we call it like this? So let me just first say, if you are in a relationship where you're feeling alone,
exhausted mentally, confused about the relationship, if you tolerate some abusive behavior, and when I say abusive behavior, I really mean emotional and physical. When you recognize that your boundaries are not respected in any ways, when you feel like in a relationship you're almost walking on an eggshells, right? You're so much caring about what the other person would feel, how you don't want to hurt them, you don't know what their reaction could be, you can't anticipate it. You might also feel like addicted to the person in a way, and you don't understand, you're confused about your addiction to that relationship when you want really cognitively, like on a conscious mind, you want to get out of this relationship. Also, you could feel unsafe or rejected sometimes. And when I say confusion, that's the time when you will be having, or you're stuck with your experience. You have so many unanswered questions. Like, for example, what's wrong with me? Why did he lie? Why this is happening? Why he's behaving like this? So that leaves you in a relationship where you are unsafe, you're confused, you are rejected, you're feeling rejected, and most of the time you're feeling isolated from your friends, family, from the life that you used to live before this relationship. So that's basically kind of red flags for you, in that if you are in that kind of relationship, you would know that you in a way in a toxic relationship. Sometimes by just our nature and of being like, we won't tolerate, we want to maybe because of cultural reason keep the family going or keep the relationship going, we miss the definitions of abuse, and especially emotional abuse, because we're not really very familiar with these terms.
Mm-hmm.
For a narcissist, when we're looking at, as we said, it's a kind of dance, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a narcissistic person, but there's also codependent person. And that's how we are saying the dance or the relationship, they attract each other. They really attract each other. And I'm going to share based on what they are attracting each other. But let's talk about narcissism. How would you know that the person who's, or the abuser is a narcissist? So basically, they lack empathy. What does that mean? It means that they don't understand your emotions. Whenever you try to make them feel the way you feel, maybe just describe to them how do you feel, they're not getting it. And we will explain why this is happening. And basically, this is because of the lack of deep connection with themselves. So there is a lot of lack of empathy. There is also lack of deeper connection with other people and with themselves as well. They rarely take responsibility for their mistakes and always blaming you. And that's where the confusion of, is there something wrong with me, that comes from? Because all the time you've been blamed for their own mistakes. And you would see a pattern in their relationship. So when they begin the relationship, it's a kind of really intense romance at the beginning, and intense care and intense giving into this relationship. But then you start to see very early that there's strange behaviors coming up. They're charming outside, and that's maybe attract most of the codependents sometimes. You will see a lot of manipulation in their behavior, tendency to make all the decisions that suit their own needs and not specifically the need of the family or the need of the relationship. You see frequent lies, you see a lot of negative criticism, and mostly you'll see the client saying like, all the time I'm listening to negative talk, right? So these negative talks is just criticism. All the time they can spot what is negative about you and rarely say something positive.
Wow, that is you know, you're just taking me back, and I haven't had a chance to go for therapy, God, because of what's happening on. But nonetheless, you know, you're tackling things, and I'm checking on my checklist. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I saw that. I think you're talking, especially at the start, because you see, it has to start somewhere, and you know, you're mentioning things where we get to identify, we get to, how do we note these things? You know, literally, you're talking, and I'm just like, oh man, I remember that. I go through that, especially the intense love, the fact that they're so caring. And there is a certain blind that goes on. For me, personally, I think I I dove into that, and it's sad to say, I'm actually sad to share this with you, that I think I've been in about 3 relationships of that kind. And now you're talking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not just hosting. You're literally talking about me and what has happened in my life. So that is I'm very glad that you're speaking about that right from the start. And I just had, just to tap into what you're saying, somebody here says, like Tina says, that is a very important always talked about. So please, you may go on, Dr. Rasha.
For sure. Sorry to hear that, Gloria, but let me tell you something, that our lack of knowledge is what trap us in some relationships that are toxic to us. When you start knowing that there is a pattern out there, I'm not going to go deeper to explain how these patterns happen, because I work with both of them. So I work with victims of narcissistic abuse. I work also with people with narcissism, which I totally understand as a therapist what's going on both sides. However, for someone like just a woman want to know about what's going on in my relationship, why I'm emotionally exhausted in a relationship, drained, when you are supposed to be in a relationship to be happy. When you know that I'm getting in a relationship maybe because I have goals, a long-term goals for this relationship, but at the same time I'm drained. When you get to know about narcissism, and I'll just go ahead and continue some of the common characteristics that you can see and you can spot, is when they start using some kind of what we call passive aggressive behavior with the person, with the woman, or it can be women or men, but like silent treatment. They stop speaking to you, or they leave the relationship every time there's a disagreement. So that basically the silent treatment, or what we call the absence of communication with them, is called silent treatment. They are manipulating the person with them in the relationship by stop speaking to them or keep leaving. They keep leaving the relationship and then come back. But during that time of leaving the relationship or stopping to talk with the person, they're giving them a hell of emotional abuse, because the person, the codependent, will just feel all the time that they're blaming themselves and their guilt about what has happened, and try to reach out again for them. And it's a vicious circle that they will keep going on and on. There is something also called gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation, brainwashing the victim to make them doubt themselves. And that's where you lose your sense of perception and you lose your sense of identity, where I am in this relationship.
Absolutely. That was personally the last relationship I was ever in. That was it for me. You gave it a name. I didn't know that it had a name. Losing perspective of oneself. Literally, it was a moment, and I sat in the couch and I said, I couldn't see me. I would say that. Like, for the first time in my life, I think I was exhausted from everything, and this was the last nail in the coffin, and I couldn't see me. I literally sat there and I tried to do this, and I'm like, where is Gloria in all of this? I literally didn't know. And I'm sorry to say that at that point I contemplated suicide, and it was a moment, but it's because of everything that they had mentioned to me, you know, who I was. And I think in that moment, I believed it. It was that moment for me that broke me. That is very important. Perspective of oneself.
Yeah. Actually, you get really, you wonder, Gloria, at one point, how well they use manipulation. How smart are they in using the manipulation? They know exactly where you're going to be. That's what we call it, the sort of control that they have over the relationship. So I would do something that I am sure 100% how you're going to react. So are you going to react with rage? Are you going to be crying? Are you going to be in pain? All this I know. And I do it with purpose. I do it with manipulation. I know what I'm doing.
They know what they're doing ahead of time.
They know. The other thing is, let's just continue with just giving everyone an overview of a narcissism. They frequently lie. And they can't admit their lies or their faults. They will just turn it on and be your fault, your mistake. something that you can't hold a conversation, a logic conversation with them. They know how to make you feel like I'm crazy. It seems like I am crazy. There's something wrong with my brain, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also their tendency to win at all costs. So it's gonna be me. I am the winner in this relationship. When they perceive that you're trying to maybe not criticize them, but just try to tell them their faults, they get into rage stage. Like they don't accept this, or they give you the silent treatment. Depends on what they want. They also have history of failed relationships because of lying, cheating.
So we need to be aware of those. We have to find out about the person. That's very, very important. That's very important.
Exactly, Claudia.
History of failed relationships. Okay.
Exactly. And when I say they lie about small things, but it's just that kind of also way of manipulating the person in the relationship. They are mastering the projection of their feelings on you. So if they feel confused, they will make you feel confused.
Projection.
The projection of the emotions. How they are doing this, they simply mirror your emotions. And if you can just go back a little bit, Gloria, and think about at the beginning with this intense caring, I'm asking you so many questions about you. I want to know more about you. Well, actually speaking, they are knowing about your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities, your reactions, and your needs in a relationship. What they are going to do with all this information, they are only going to use the vulnerability, but they're not going to fulfill your needs. So basically, you will be always looking to something in this relationship, and it's never happening. And it could be something very logic. It's like, and I'm in a relationship to feel safe, or I'm in a relationship to feel that I'm supported. They will never, when they know your needs in the relationship, they will never give you the needs, but they will use the vulnerabilities that you shared with them. And that's why we say at the beginning, there's a lot of interest of knowing you more. And the women usually think that is, or perceive it as, he's so caring.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Oh, I finally found, of course, with age, where women, this is, at least I've been out for 2 years now. So for me, it's the journey of me talking about it. I've never really talked about it like this, but, what's the point of me asking people to join us and listen if I'm not willing to bring a piece of me to this discussion? And I'm glad that I'm talking to somebody who really understands this, not because it's me, but you've been doing this and I'm just one of the many that you have met. I look back at the beginning. It's been 2 years now since I was out of this relationship, and God forbid it may be the last that I've been through. And it was very interesting, to the point that I think my family, I lost friends because they didn't understand why I was with this person. But for me, I was defending this person. So, oh man.
This is a very nice start to, let me explain to you now exactly what you said, Gloria, how this fits in the codependent kind of personality that really dance well with the narcissistic abuse. So basically, when you just said that I'm losing friends. Remember, I told you, he or the person in this relationship, the abuser, will try to isolate you from everyone. It's not like literally I'm the one who's isolating you. He will let you isolate yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you make no sense to others. And everyone seeing you as crazy or not logical. How are you accepting this? So basically that is a way of indirectly manipulating you to be completely isolated. So he isolates you from your family, from your friends, then you find yourself alone. And that is again, because if you're alone, I can control you more. And you have no one except me in front of you, right? So basically, I'm feeling all your thoughts and mind and emotion, so I know that I'm in control. Wow. So let's say the codependent. The codependent share the same childhood trauma like the narcissist. And this is something that's really exciting to know and interesting, very interesting. They share the same trauma. So while narcissists, they feel so much about themselves in a relationship, they put themselves first. Codependent, they also feel the low self. So both of them, they have low self-esteem, right? Or they don't have the self-worth. Okay, they didn't get this. The how do I have the self-worth out of a relationship? Let me put it like this. Okay, so the self-worth is coming from a relationship. Both of them. One of them, I put myself first, and one of them, I'll put everyone else first. So the coping mechanism for both is different, even though the foundation is the same. So let's see a codependent. What does that mean? It's someone who feels responsible for other people's feelings, problems, behaviors. They put everyone before themselves. And when they do that, it's actually trying to get some kind of love, approval, knowing that people will be attracted to them and loving them and giving them what all of us are looking for, self-love.
Absolutely.
We want someone to love us, to care about us, to make us feel worthy. So if I'm giving all the time, so at least I'm getting, at least from some friends, from family members, that, oh, that person is really helping, he's good. So I'm getting this kind of fulfillment to my approval. However, in the other side, it's affecting me in a relationship, because if there's someone who's going to abuse this, they're going to abuse it, and they'll keep pushing on your vulnerability, that you need the care and love and being heard and seen in a relationship.
Absolutely. I'm literally taking stock. I'm listening and I'm just like, wow, because, I have no words, the doctor. I am more like, it's not that I don't know what you're saying, but I had never thought about it in terms of analyzing it in that sense, learning from it and saying, how can I help somebody else?
Yeah.
And I'm learning that now. So
yeah, Gloria, what I always share with my clients is it's sometimes when you hold on in a relationship, even though it's a toxic relationship, it could be your subconscious refusing to fail in a relationship. So you keep on the relationship hoping that the relationship will get better. Sometimes my clients would tell me, like, it's a cultural thing. I don't want to break the family. There's so many external restrictions on ourselves that keep us in a relationship. Sometimes I add that lack of knowledge. We don't know that we are in a toxic relationship.
And we don't, exactly. And just because you've said that, I have a comment here from Tina. She says, Dr. Rasha, can you give us advice on how to help someone who is going through an emotional abuse but does not see it? That's exactly what you just mentioned. So please, if you can go ahead and enlighten Tina about that.
For sure. Tina, your question is very relevant, but let me tell you something. I always say to my clients, for the codependent, I say something different than the narcissistic, which what I mean is, for the narcissistic personality disorder or someone with a narcissism personality traits, they don't see unless they truly get connected with themselves and understand that all their relationships are failing, there's something wrong with them, I'm going to seek help. Right? Which I am saying, based on my experience, it really happens. It's always everyone around them asking them to go for therapy, but they refuse. Let's see on the other side. The other side, we need to understand that personal trauma, where it's coming from, where that personality of we call it the type of personality, the type of fixer personality. I want to fix that person. So she doesn't want to leave the relationship thinking that I can fix him. I can take control and do something different, right? I would be very special in this relationship than all his other relationships because I'm the one who's going to fix him. Well, actually, if you let this person know and give them the knowledge, and I'm always saying knowledge is power. We need to empower ourselves with knowledge. Let them know fixing someone with a narcissistic personality traits or disorder is not your job. You will never be able to do it. There's so many even therapists that they can't fix those two main personalities or personality disorders that we think they're very challenging: the narcissist and the borderline personality. So unless you're a therapist, you won't be able to fix that person. So staying in a relationship is wasting your time.
So doctor, just in the same regard again, I'm trying to, let's say, within our own communities, within our own families, I'm stuck on Tina's because I want to know, how do we help the people we are seeing going through this? You know what I mean? Because from the outside, I may tell that you're going through an emotional abuse kind of relationship. How do I start this conversation to encourage you to actually seek the help that I think you need? Because I think that's, if I'm understanding Tina, who is going through an emotional abuse but does not see it? To them, if I didn't know I was going through that, for example, let me use myself as an example. It's not that I wasn't suffering, but I didn't think about it using the words narcissistic and codependent.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So unless you have the knowledge, Gloria, unless you understand what a toxic relationship is, you won't be able to take any other step. And that's happened with a lot of my clients. And that's why I run group therapy for women who've been under domestic violence. Some of them, and I'll give you just some examples, would not know, even with physical abuse, that this is abuse. It's just like normal in my culture, or maybe that's okay, or maybe as being a good woman, I have to tolerate my husband or my partner, or maybe for the sake of my children. You see how much these women needs to be empowered with the knowledge that no, you have boundaries. You need to set healthy boundaries in relationship. And I don't blame them, to be honest, Gloria, only because we have not learned, to be honest. It just comes with experience. We didn't learn with our parents what is healthy relationship and what is healthy boundaries. We didn't get this in school. Unless you're really trying to read outside of your maybe school and college books, and maybe interested in psychology, who would let us know that, okay, these are the signs of a healthy relationship. If you don't have this, then you're falling into a toxic relationship. Who would know who is a narcissist and how they manipulate you and use, for example, silence treatment and gaslighting when they're where we get this knowledge? Honestly speaking, what we are doing now is very powerful, because I see how this can help a lot of women out there. They don't know, they never give a terminology to what they're
going through, they're feeling, what they're experiencing, or even just questioning it. Let's start there to say, is it wrong that somehow for the last 1 week he has been, it's a shove, but it starts with a small shove, and then somehow you're in the door, and somehow you're in the wall. It started with a simple shove.
Yeah.
So it's I love that you're breaking it in terms of, it's the regular things, because we are waiting for the big, do you want to be bitten first and you can't breathe for us to know that this is wrong or toxic? So I love that you're mentioning the little pieces, the day-to-day experiences.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, Gloria, what I always say is, like, if you have your own objective for relationship, I know I'm getting into a relationship because, for example, at this stage of my life, I need a stability. Or at this stage of my life, I need to have kids. I need to, whatever the goal that you have a relationship, if you're not identifying it, you will be lost in his own goals. So get into a relationship with a definite objectives and goals for yourself. What do you want in a relationship?
Don't wait for it to just happen. You have to know what it is. That's very important. Objective.
Yeah. When I always say, like, the pleaser personality, also identify in yourself, have some kind of self-reflection. Why I'm doing what I'm doing? Why do I want to please or fix a person? Everything, there is psychological cause behind it. So pleasing others is mostly about approval. I want approval. And why do I want approval? It's simply because I want someone to love me, right? I can be doing this even at work. I'm trying to take here and there, and I don't say no for anyone giving me any tasks because I want everyone to be happy with me, right? it's a kind, I'm not putting any boundaries. I'm not setting any boundaries, and it's draining me emotionally. Even we're talking now about work, right? It's still emotionally when I go home, knowing that I have all these tasks that I said yes, but then I'm left with them alone. Then emotionally, I'm going to be drained, not only physically, because I'm going to set up maybe all night trying to do all these tasks, but emotionally, I started to be draining. So understand, have some moment for yourself, self-reflection, why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Wow.
What do I want from this? And don't blame yourself for anything. Needing love and approval is not a mistake or a sin or a guilt to be guilty about it. Everyone needs love. But maybe I know that I need the love, but I'm going to try different strategies to get the love other than the ineffective strategies that I'm using in relationships.
Wow, I have learned so much and I'm still learning. I'm really glad that we got to, we are talking about this, and I'm sure that people that are watching or people that will get to watch this a little later will gain, and we shall be talking about, I'm learning talking about being empowered, how we need to be empowered as women. I'm learning about setting boundaries, being objective in the goals, especially in relationships. And of course, I have here Ramesh Shotai says, Dr. Rasha Wahid, very inspiring and moving talk. And also thanks the Arts and Artisans for putting this together. So thank you so much. I know you still have a little bit of what to say. We're gonna take a little break and come back with some of the questions, or if you've got any question out there, or just I will be asking you like 2 or 3 questions in regards to the same topic. But right now we're once again going to have the one and only Miss Tina Ford to soothe us as we take in the information that has just been shared for a few minutes. Thank you so much.
The next song I'm going to sing is called Never Ever. It's an Afrobeat song. I enjoyed writing this song a lot because it's a song about reaching a place of solace and peace. And as you listen to it, may you have peace or receive peace and sanity in your life.
Graceful and beautiful serenity, surround me with your big light. Now if you marry me after that dowry, ooh, you give me the good love. The mountains, the top of the trees, I will get to you, and I will never leave. You'll be the one that I'll give you
Wow, the name is Tina Ford, and she was just singing a beat when you're in my life, Obramo Obuchusa, which means my life is changed. When I'm with you, my life is changed. When we're together, you just came into my life and you changed it. Obramo Obuchusa, beautiful rendition, Tina. What an amazing song. Of course, we're here talking about relationships and how we've been manipulated in the past and how we can overcome. Again, if you're just joining us, this is the Break the Silence in COVID-19 series brought to you by the Artisans Development and Network, funded by the Red Cross Canada, with the support of Gisha Productions Inc., as we discuss and tackle the issue of elderly abuse and, of course, domestic violence against women, especially during this lockdown. If you're joining us, once again, we're on Facebook and YouTube. I encourage you to share. I encourage you to, subscribe. And, of course, you've just missed Dr. Rasha. If you've missed, I promise you can always go back when the show is done and you rewatch this conversation. We're going now into the bit of Q&A. Once again, I have some of the comments here. Ramesh Chotai saying ANDA staging such an informative virtual event, Break the Silence, highlights the truth of what one goes through in life. I will have Dr. Rasha again on the screen. Brian, thank you so much. And as we are close to the end of this, Dr. Rasha, I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you shared with us everything that you've just been sharing. And I have got a question from Devinka Martha. She says, question for Rasha: if I have come out of a narcissistic relationship, is it possible that the person will stop coming back even with a restraining order in place?
Well, let me tell you something. The pattern of the relationship is they will keep coming back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they operate. They will keep coming back even with some excuses, right? Well, that's for you is a sign that they are trying to test your boundaries.
Oh,
so
interesting.
If you're getting out of the relationship, try to work on setting the right boundaries. So when they keep coming back, also there's something inside us. Let me tell you something, Gloria, and this is very normal. We're human beings. Sometimes when the relationship is ended, the other person trying to approach you once and twice, it's a kind of a hidden part in us unconsciously that I am glad that someone is looking for me. That means I was good in a relationship.
I hear you.
Over this part. Set your boundaries clearly. Work on the unresolved emotions during this relationship to be able, when he comes or she comes back, because honestly speaking, this happened both ways, right? Personality disorders can be women, can be men. If they keep going back, you will be able to set the boundaries. You know why you're setting the boundaries, Gloria? Because simply you're telling yourself, I deserve better.
Absolutely. I remember this person, just to bring an example of what this is like. When they met me afterwards with somebody else, not even in a relationship, just with a friend, and they said, that person is not right for you. Literally. And I remember saying, how do you, really, you're the one telling me that I don't deserve, you know what I mean? So I hear you because they tend to, to downgrade all the relationships that you're forming, or even getting back my friends. Because, like I said, I lost friends because of that. And now, trying to reach back to these friends and having a conversation with them, they would tell me that this person is not good for you. They will hurt you.
Why? Because simply they want to control you, my dear. So I will lose control if you go into another relationship. I will lose control if you go back to your friends who will tell you that you were in a toxic relationship. I don't want that to happen. I want to brainwash you and keep brainwashing you.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm just, I'm in awe because everything you're saying is, wow. Devinka says, thank you so much. I deserve better. You see, this is a very empowering talk, and you've talked about.
I love that.
I really thank you so much, Devinka, especially for sharing something of this magnitude. And to everybody watching, we want to say thank you so much. You talked about empowering us, the women. You talked about we need to fix our boundaries, to make sure that we are sure of what we're saying no and what we're saying yes to. That's very, very important. I learned about stability and being goal-oriented, even being in a relationship. Why am I going in a relationship with this person? And of course, self-reflection. So I have learned a bit of what you've shared, and I can't tell you. I feel like we need to keep going on, but
Yeah,
you know,
oh,
I know you gotta go. And I take this time first and foremost to say thank you so much, Dr. Rasha Wahid, for taking your time to share this kind of information with us, to enlighten us, because everything you've mentioned, we may have seen it, but we don't really know that. I have another one here. Brian says, I've gone through the same situation as an African man, and it is a topic we don't speak about. Could you touch just a little bit about, especially because I know we are all affected by culture, and cultures, it's diverse, it's a lot, but just touch a little bit about that, and especially coming from a male's perspective.
Yeah. So see, Gloria, I have a lot of male clients that been in a narcissistic abusive relationship. It happens both ways. The only thing is knowing the culture of being an African man in a culture where you know where you stand in a relationship, and knowing that this abusive person have been manipulating you, using you, lying on you, cheating on you, or whatever they are using in this relationship. It's a kind of really, well, my observation as a therapist when I work with both of them, both is really hurting. But believe me, with the men, it's more hurting because that's what I don't expect in a relationship. And I have a specific expectation to myself in a relationship as a man also within the culture. So basically what's happening is it's hurting both ways, but from my experience, men got hurt even more.
Because they are afraid to speak up. They are afraid to lose their masculinity. Because when you seek help, then you're less of a man, or you know, a man takes care of business. And I think that is the toxic part of the traits that is killing a lot of our boys. I would use those words, or causing a lot of such pain. And I'm glad that you mentioned it. They have a right to speak up as well, because, like you said, it happens to everybody. So I'm very glad, and thank you so much, Brian, for sharing that, because that is very.
Let me tell you something, Chloe. Seek out help. I know it's sometimes kind of a cultural thing that I won't go for a therapist, but believe me, it will help you a lot. So also don't be shy to seek out help. This is a real matter, and it's a serious matter being in this relationship, and because it's usually is a kind of pattern of relationships. If you've been in it once, you can be in it again. So take care.
Absolutely. It's now that I'm just like, wow, I endured quite a lot, but here I am, and I'm still on the journey of healing, and so is everybody else that is out there. Dr. Rasha Wahid, we cannot thank you enough on behalf of the board of directors and on behalf of the committee organizing this, the Arts and Artisans Developmental Network. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for being with us this afternoon, and for sharing your insight on this topic, and for really encouraging us to speak up and indeed break the silence. Thank you so much.
And thanks for having me. Thank you so much, Gloria, and thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That has been Dr. Rasha Wahid as we continue to talk about break the silence in COVID-19, especially the elderly abuse and domestic violence against women. This topic is so broad, and I can guarantee you that at one point somebody needs to hear this word. So please feel free to share. Please, I encourage you to share. I encourage you to speak up. Reach out and seek the help that you need. Now, this workshop has been organized by an amazing team led by our very own Shireen Mandani, myself, Manal Hussein, Brian Kizalankoyo, the person behind the take, all the take. He's in charge, and he's amazing at this. Mary Carmen Taylor, in charge of all our social media. Thank you so much. Blessing Regulus. I cannot thank you so much. The Bishop Productions Inc. team right now. Thank you so much for all your PR work that you've been doing. To all the artists that we've been working with throughout this session, we thank you so much, and we wouldn't have done it without you. Once again, I take this moment to acknowledge the Red Cross Canada for your support to fund this, and of course the team of the Arts and Artisans Development Network. It is such a pleasure. And join us once again next Saturday, that is the 14th. Again, you'll be hearing from another speaker, and you will get to know at exactly 2 p.m. Please join us at exactly 2 p.m. Next Saturday, the 14th. I'm going to leave you once again with thank you so much for being. She says a beautiful workshop, Gloria, well done. And of course, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody who tuned in and who joined us during this session. Once again, I'm going to leave you with, of course, Tina. Tina is used to using art for storytelling through her music. She infuses elements of blues, funk, reggae, neo-soul, and Afrobeat to bring to light cultural narratives. She also incorporates dance and drama as a form of expressing and demonstrating cultures she has been influenced by. I think you've seen that in her music. You've seen that in, just by listening to her. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you plan to join us next Saturday on the 14th at exactly 2 p.m., allow me leave you with the one and only Mr. Nafo. Thank you for watching. My name is Gloria Gift Namkunda, and until next time, take care. Cheers.
The song I'm going to sing is called Passerby. It's a song I wrote about seasons that come in our life, some good, some bad. They come and they go. And for me, it's a reminder to myself that everything is temporary. And to understand that if I'm going through a storm in my life, it shall pass by.
Before we get to Monday blues, your brown eyes remind me to inhale the perfume of your presence. Cause this could be gone by broad daylight. Don't deny the captivating essence of what our souls crave deep. Are you all in? Or are you here for gold to buy and walk away scot-free like a passerby? Are you all in? Or are you out here just to tell a lie that will have me falling for a passerby? You had to be that. You had to be that. Most faces I've come across have turned out to be the biters of my back. Advisors that I had, I swiftly gird my solitude in silence. Cause everything goes by like any day and a time. Are you all in? Or are you here for gold to buy and walk away scot-free like a passerby? Are you all in? Or are you out here just to tell a lie